No longer will your credit score die, because today we're going to break down the credit score pie. Was that corny? I think it was corny. I'll be back. Hi again, thank you for tuning in. So today we're going to talk about what makes a credit score. So I know there's a lot of people now that's talking about credit, and because so many people became entrepreneurs during the pandemic. And so a lot of people are concerned about getting their credit score up because they want to start a business, they want to build business credit and all that stuff. So on this channel, that's what we're going to talk about. My name is Star Carter. For all the new people that are visiting with me today, I am a small business owner myself. I am actually now sitting in my shop. I have a small candle store, and we sell a little bit of other stuff. So I got my little apron on. I've been making some candles and some other stuff today. So I'm going to talk to you about what makes a credit score. So if this type of information sounds like it would be helpful and informative to you, please consider liking and subscribing. Now, just I'm gonna forewarn you, sometimes I get so excited that I may get to stuttering. I notice that in a lot of my videos because I do get excited about this type of stuff. I'm a little nerd. I love numbers. I've been in banking for 15 years. I went to school for accounting and business. So I kind of get excited about that type of stuff. So it's just my excitement, and I might get tongue tied. So y'all forgive me. Do like they say in church, just take it for love, okay? Just take it for love. All right, so let's talk about what makes a credit score. So when you're talking about repairing your credit or establishing credit, if you're new to credit, there are 5 components that makes that credit score. And those 5 components you have to hit in order to have what they consider an excellent, exceptional, good credit score, right? Because having good credit can make the difference in how much you pay for items and how much you overpay for items, right? So it's important. A lot of people don't think about their credit until they want to buy a house or till they want to get a car. But your credit is more than just you buying a house or buying a car. Your credit can really and truly save you money. It can save you money on your insurance, because now insurance companies are looking at your credit. It can save you money when you're going to rent an apartment, because that can make a difference in if you will have to put a deposit down, or even if you are qualified to even get the apartment, right? Your credit can also be a factor in employment, because employment can also factor in. Some people won't hire you if your credit is bad because you look like a risk, especially if you're going to be working with money. If you're going to work with money, they may pull your credit, not just your background. They may pull your credit to make sure that you're not in financial, hardship, because your credit does not say what's in your account. It just says how good you are with other people's money, right? So you could have money. You could have investments, savings, all that jazz. But credit is not about your money. It's how good you manage other people's money. So let's get that established first. So when you're doing whatever you're doing with other people's money, that's why they pull your credit. Because if it was about how much money you had, then they'll be asking you for other things. That's why when you go to buy a house, they also pull your credit, but they also want your bank statements. They also want pay stubs. They also want other things because they're looking at the whole picture. But when you go to get insurance, they're not asking you that. They want to see if you're a risk. When you go to get an apartment, they want to see if you're a risk. Are you gonna be somebody that's gonna pay, or are you gonna get evicted? When you're going to buy a car, they want to know are you going to be good for this car, or am I gonna have to repo it? So that's the reason for the score. The score is to let other people know that you're trying to get something from how good or have you been with other people's stuff. So that's the first thing. All right. So that beautiful credit score, as I said, has 5 components. And those 5 components has their own individual weight, right? So we're going to break down the individual weight that each component have that makes up that beautiful credit score pie, that magical number that says you're good or you're bad with other people's money. So the first part of that credit score pie is payment history. And out that credit score pie, 35% of it is the payment history. So they want to know, how good have you been with paying people back? So 35% of that is wanting to know, how good have you been with paying others back? So that means that if you have a late payment, that can go and affect that 35%. If you get a collection, because that means you did not pay them, that's going to affect that 35%. So if you get a repo, that's going to affect that 35%. And see, the bad thing about repos is, and when they take stuff back and that gets on your credit, you had to go to a 30-day late, a 60-day late, a 90-day late, 120 days late. You had to keep going down that rabbit hole of it, constantly just eating at that 35% until it was all gone, right? And now, if you don't have something positive to get that 35 back up, then that's how that part of your score that is so important, because it's 35% of it, is just eaten away and it's gone. So 35% of it is how good you pay. So that's why it's important. It's not just ethnically important. Excuse me, that's that stutter when I get excited. It's not because it's going to make your credit score good, but you want to pay people back, right? You don't want to owe people. You don't want to get talked about. Now, say you have to credit, if all the credit people that you get credit from, there wasn't privacy. They went and just trash about you. Like, how, oh, they didn't pay me back and all this stuff. You know, like how your friends do. You borrow money from them. Now imagine if lenders was like that, right? They just talk all kind of smack about you, you know. But they don't. They put it on your credit, and your credit speaks for you. And your credit says whether you are good to lend to or not, okay? And that makes up 35% of that happy score, all right? So the second part that makes up that credit score pie is credit utilization. How much do you owe to your available credit? That makes up 30% of that credit score pie. So when they mean by that, they mean like, okay, revolving credit. Think revolving credit. And if you don't know what revolving credit is, think credit cards. Think lines of credit. Think overdraft protection. Think of home equity loans. Think of anything that they give you a line of credit, and as you use it, you lose some of it, but as you pay it, it comes back and you can use it again. So that's what revolving is. It's kind of like the door. It can constantly keep going around. I love revolving credit because you can have it forever. It's an open-end loan. So you can have it forever. And you don't have to worry about it leaving your credit score. But if you don't pay it, see, that goes back to that 35% we just talked about. Then that's when it's an issue. Another part of it is when it's an issue is when you max that credit out. You don't want to max it out. Don't do that. Because when you max it out, it looks to lenders that you ain't doing too good. You might be living off that credit. You may, your checking account might be a little low. You ain't got no savings. You're living off your credit cards, and you're living off your home equity, or you're living off your line of credit. You're living off your overdraft protection, because you can't pay it right back off. You also could be living above your means. That credit utilization was something that always stumped me because I've always paid my stuff on time. I made little 3-part videos about that. I've always paid my stuff on time, but I just did not know how credit cards work. I thought when you got it, they wanted you to use it. And of course, the credit card company wants you to carry it balance so they can get interest. But I did not realize for years that was what was keeping my score down. Because yes, I went to school for business and accounting, but they teach you how to manage other people's money, not your own. Okay? So I had to learn that the hard way in the last 5 years. Okay? I was in $25,000 worth of credit card debt, and all of them was maxed out to the limit. You couldn't even squeeze a piece of sweat off of it, honey. It was gone. But that's what I had to learn. That 30% credit utilization, that is what the lenders, that is what the credit bureau wants you to see. They want you to have that limit, whatever your limit is. Do not go over 30% whenever that statement hits and reports to them on whatever line of credit it is, credit card, whatever. And I did a video about that to teach you how to read your statement, know the difference between your due date and your statement, and I will link that card above. All right, so let's go on to the next part of that credit score pie. The next part of that credit score pie is 15% of it is the length of credit. So how long have you had credit, right? How long have you been in this credit game? How long? And the longer you've been in the credit game with good payment history and good credit utilization, that 15% can be the tipping point that puts you over into the land of 800. The 800 club. That can put you into the 800 club just because you've had credit for so long. You've always reported really, really good credit history. How long have you had that good credit, right? So think about the credit cards and your lines of credit. As long as you keep those bad boys in good condition, you can have a credit card forever. You can have a line of credit forever. As long as that bank has that product, you can have it forever. And that's what I like about open-ended loans, because you can. Now, if you get a car, the car is not going to be there forever, right? Because eventually you're going to pay it off. You know, things like that, those are closed-end loans. So you're going to, and when they close, your credit score is going to drop a little bit because you're going to lose that loan length, whether you financed it for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I meant to say. You're going to lose that length of credit once it pay off and it close out. But with credit cards and revolving credit, it can stay on there for a while, and that's why it makes up 30% of your score, because they know it can be on there a while. So that's why. So you want to keep your good credit and your good credit accounts, trade lines is another name for them, as long as you possibly can and with good payment history, because that makes up the mix and the length of your credit. And the next one is the credit mix. So they want to know what kind of gumbo you got going on with your credit, right? What makes up your credit? Do you have a little bit of revolving credit? Do you have a little bit of installment credit? Do you have a mortgage? They want to know what makes up that credit gumbo that you got going on. And that is 10% of your credit. So if you are lacking in any part that makes up your credit, like say you have a car payment, you may have student loans, those are installments. So your credit score could be low because you are missing a part of the mix. Maybe you need to get a credit card. I ain't say 20 credit cards, but maybe you need to get a credit card with a good limit, and you use that utilization. Keep it under 30%. I prefer 10%, but that will give you another part of the credit mix that is 10% of your score. And then we come to the last one, and that is new credit. That makes up 10% of your score is new credit. So when you are going out to apply for new credit, you want to make sure that it is absolutely necessary, because when you apply for new credit, it will bring the average age of your other credit down. So it's an average of all your credit that would give your credit a length of credit. So it's the average of all of them that gives you the 15%, what we said, the length of history, your history. So the more new credit you get, that average age steady keeps dividing, and your average will get so low that can also affect your credit. So you want to be careful with how many new inquiries, hard pulls, because those can bring your score down. And as you get those new accounts, hopefully when you get in a hard pull, you're also getting a new account to go with it. Then it's going to bring down the score for a little while. But then as that new account, that new trade line gets its wings and it stays on there and it's reporting good, then it'll get into that 10% credit mix. And then if it's revolving, it'll start getting into that 30% utilization. And as long as you're paying it on time, it will get up in that good payment history that makes up 35%. So now that we know what makes up our credit score pie, we will be more conscious in how we handle each piece, so that when we go to get lending and funding for whatever it is that we need, even if we're getting a new job or we're shopping for insurance, we can go there with our chest stuck out and our heads up high, knowing that we have taken care of our credit score pie. Was that corny? I don't know. Thank you for tuning in, and I really hope that this video was informative. Please like and subscribe if you like this type of information. Leave me a comment. Let me know how I did. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.